The name is Danesh. I've got a question. There was a project more than a decade ago where they were going to set up a water recycling unit at My Karachi, where 3 of the main drains of Karachi were going to exit into that project, and they're going to use that water not only to clean it, but the fertilizer that will be developed from that water, the methane gas would run and in fact power half of Karachi with that one project. It was a win-win situation for Karachi. KPT was on board and KMC got wind of it. At that time there was a political government in KMC, and they said, no, this should be a KMC project and not a KPT project. KPT said, no, this is federal land. KMC said, no, this is city's land. And then this went to the courts, and I believe it's still rotting in the courts. So we are to blame. That's all.
For the benefit of our international listeners and also our international speakers, I think they may be a little puzzled to hear what we are saying. Let me explain that this city of 25 million people is not run by a single mayor that has control over it. It is divided into bits and pieces. Only 1/3 is run by the Karachi Metropolitan Corporation, the local government unit, whereas there are 6 cantonments, and the rest of the city is owned and run by different federal agencies. In this circumstance, it becomes absolutely impossible to bring city-wide solutions. And what Danesh Dinshaw was just saying is a reflection of that, that if you cannot even decide which agency owns the land on which certain infrastructure has to happen, then it's very troublesome. And by the way, with the way the building mafia operates in the city, some of the natural drainage into the sea has been blocked permanently now, and that is one of the reasons that we had that terrible urban flood just 2 years ago. So we need to find the political solutions alongside the social solutions, alongside the technological solutions, alongside the infrastructure solutions in order to solve the problems of this city and other cities of the world.
Thank you. Now there is one interesting question asked by Zagam Habib, and I will be asking our international panelists, the PAI and then the DIGO. They are asking, the question is, a certain initiative go on failing with many times reputation. Is it a lack of political will or misplaced political will to do something without social validation? What's happening in other part of the globe? I just want to ask a question first from PAI and then from DIGO.
Yeah, maybe I take shortly the lead before Diego can come in. The circular economy is a fantastic type of projects or innovations which requires holistic approaches. And so that means, as simple examples, let's say we just want to transform fecal sludge into an organic fertilizer. And if we go for this, we have to look at the social acceptability, we have to look at the material availability over the seasons, the inflow, the material outflow, is there a market for it, is there competition for it, the right technology, the enabling environment, the safety and health regulations. And very often projects only look at the subset of these, and then there's no surprise that they might fail. Very often they come from a technical perspective and miss to look at the business side and if this is viable. And that's something what we learned, and so we can only recommend, wherever you go, apply a business approach, apply a holistic approach to really multi-criteria feasibility studies, and then you should succeed. Thank you.
Oh, Simi, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mohsen. So what is it that we gained from this seminar? I think the most important learning for us is that the circular economy of water is an idea whose time has come in Pakistan. It's been happening elsewhere, and we have got to push for it. We learned from Dr. Pi Drexel that over 80% of the world's water is released into environment without treatment. That was a little surprise for me. I thought that in the developed world perhaps it was a lot more. I don't know which could be, but this 80% did shake me up. and that 20% of cities all face day zero in this and next decade. That's frightening. I am sure that at least one or two of our cities would be in those 20%. So that's something for us to really think about. We got some interesting concepts that we could apply here in Pakistan, the intra-basin water swap, the kind of incentives we could give to cities for circulating water. The social costs of not taking water are really great, and we have not looked at the social costs greatly. And the social acceptability, business models and enabling environment are all important. Dr. Diego Juan Rodriguez talked a lot about water and circular economy in terms of resilience. So we know that 36% of the population already lives in water stressed areas, and that the shift from linear system of the last 2 centuries, we have to move from that on to supply, recover and regenerate model. And as you said, Diego, that is going to be difficult. And Umar and I have been discussing already why it is so difficult in our city and in our province and in our country. So water reuse for agriculture, for businesses, all of that needs to be taken into account. And we've also learned that treated water is 33% cheaper, and it can be of different required qualities. These are the facts and figures that we can use to sell this idea to our own government and to people who take decisions. And that, most interestingly, that success factors are government support and leadership. So we still have to develop that leadership that can promote the circular economy of water in different contexts. So collaboration between government agencies and civil society organizations to pull up that leadership. And it was a very correct fact that somebody pointed out that we should have had 1 or 2 government reps here. But we know, and Umar knows this too, it is very, very difficult to get them here. But nonetheless, I am glad to see that some of them are there in the audience. Then Suhail Naqvi from WWF gave innovative ideas on water replenishment and sustainable development. He talked of rainwater harvesting, the Recharge Pakistan program, the nature-based solution, and most importantly, promoting public-private partnerships. And from Dr. Ryu Owase from Japan, we learned about JOGSU, method of technology for water and sanitation solutions. And the way to move fast is that while we've been talking, I've already been in touch with people from his group who says that there are things that they could do through the Water Institute. That is the kind of action we need, that we talk about it and we do it really fast. And to my fellow panelists, I say thank you for all the great ideas that have been generated, and we look forward to meeting all of you in the next webinar.
आखिर में मोहतरमा सीमी कमाल ने कहा कि पाकिस्तान 2047 तक दुनिया की 10वीं बड़ी मईशत बनकर सामने आएगा। पाकिस्तान की तरक्की के लिए पानी के मसाइल का हल होना बेहद जरूरी है। हमें अपने आने वाली नस्ल को बेहतर निजाम देना है। तकरीब के आखिर में डॉक्टर मोहसिन ने तमाम शुरका का शुक्रिया अदा किया।
Now I will hand over to my colleague Faria Okeli.
What an insightful session it was. This webinar would not have been possible without the support of the following. First of all, I would like to thank our keynote speakers, Dr. Pedro Rachel and Dr. Diego Rodriguez, for their insightful and very provocative presentations. Thank you to Dr. Mohsin Hafiz for moderating this session so seamlessly. I would also thank all the esteemed speakers who have shared their expertise and knowledge with us. I would like to thank our lead sponsor, Engro Foundation, and IMI Pakistan, Hands Pakistan and WWF Pakistan for sponsoring this webinar series. A big thank you to our technical partners, Panjwani Hisar Water Institute and NED University. And I would also thank to Seema Tahir Khan for this media support, the Airwaves Media Group, which includes TV1, News1, FM 91 and WhatsApp TV, for the coverage of our webinar through their radio, social media and TV channels. Thank you to Simi Kamal for the constant guidance, support and this webinar series. I would also thank my colleagues at SAR Foundation, the General Manager Sana Baksa Musa, who is the backbone for this webinar series, and Samin Binte Huda, who helped us at the Secretariat. Thank you all to the audience for the participation and very engaging questions. I hope to see you all at the next webinar, which is on Thinking the Unthinkable, harnessing the pandemic to improve SDG 6, health and sanitation.
Hisar Foundation and Angro Foundation, in association with IWMI Pakistan, WWF Pakistan and Airwaves Media, TV1, News 1, Waseb and FM 91 presents 5th Karachi International Water Conference webinar series on climate change and pandemic, impact on water. The second webinar on circular water economy in urban context.